Welcome to another author reveal for America's Leading Ladies. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Jory Fisher, and we're going to just, tap into a little bit of how she got involved with the project and what it is that we can help to contribute more to the world. So welcome, Jory. How are you?
Thank you, Cordelia. I'm very happy to be here. I'm so glad you're doing this so that people can have a better idea. I mean, there's nothing like video, a better idea of who the contributing authors are in the book. So thank you to you.
My pleasure. Absolutely. You're right. How often do we have these co-author books and we're none the wiser about who they are and what they're up to in the world? So this is really great. So tell me first, how did you get involved with the project?
A few years back, I got this phone call from a woman named Pat Sampson, and she said that somebody had recommended me to her. I was very honored about that. And at the time, she was putting together another book called America's Star Entrepreneurs. So I had the pleasure of being a part of that project and meeting some wonderful people through that project. So when this one came up, which is bigger and better, I was very honored when she asked me if I'd like to be a part of this one as well. So that's how. So I've met Pat in person just one time because we had a gathering for America's Star Entrepreneurs in, I think it was Bethesda, Maryland. And it was just wonderful to meet her. So she's quite a personality. And it's just fantastic that she had this idea to bring all these people together in order to help make the world a better place.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. So I guess you're one of, so far I've interviewed one other person who was in that book also.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's nice to know. And for this project, how do you find, well, first of all, what's your mission? What are you up to in the world?
I am all about helping people pursue their calling, pursue their purpose, fulfill their purpose, and to use communication in such a way that it makes for a more meaningful conversation. So I am a sales and communication trainer. I use personality science in order to help bring about healthier, safer, more trustworthy conversations.
Oh, very nice. That's definitely needed because people don't generally trust salespeople, right?
Right.
That's what we do as entrepreneurs. We must sell, right?
Exactly. And of course, even without thinking about the marketplace and the exchange of currency for a product or service, we're selling all day, every day anyway. I mean, even if it's to persuade our spouse to go with us to a particular destination for vacation or take us out to dinner, even as babies, right? Babies are selling
really good
on giving them either a change of diaper or a bottle or something like that. So we always are selling, even though we may think we're not, we are.
Yeah, that's good perspective to have, and for us to open ourselves to. So how do you feel what you're doing really aligns with the mission of this book?
When I think about, and I haven't had an opportunity to read all of almost 50 stories in the book. Oh my goodness, so exciting. I can tell that everybody is trying to make, as you said earlier, the world a better place, which is fantastic. And I just truly believe that through honest, open communication, we can do that. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we were to take the political arena as an example, just within the United States, not to mention the world, how great it would be if people were more interested in listening to the other person, using language that the other person can relate to, more than just trying to get our message, our point of view across, right? So I believe that everybody in the book, from what I can tell so far, is all about having meaningful conversations with people and helping affect positive change in the United States and beyond.
Yeah, definitely. I love your point about listening. People really don't recognize listening as a part of communication. And that's the biggest part.
It is. Oh, you know that little joke about God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, right?
Right. Right. But for some reason we like use the mouth more.
We do. We do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love personality science because, well, I was certified in Myers-Briggs a long time ago. You're familiar
Oh,
with that, MBTI? Yeah.
absolutely.
And strength finders and disc and all of that, I eat that stuff up, right? I just love it. But what was interesting about the process that I'm using now, yes, we want to learn about ourselves, of course, but it's even more important to learn about the other person. So we can do that, for example, by looking for clues. How are they dressed? What does their LinkedIn profile look like? What does their resume look like? What kinds of things do they talk about? So that's just one way that you can do it, to start getting an idea of what values are most important to them. And the methodology is called BANK, which is an acronym. B stands for blueprint, and a person who's a blueprint is very systems oriented and processes and is kind of in the box, follows the rules and all of that, right? And then A stands for action. Those are people who are outside the box and they just want to take off. Maybe they're a lot of entrepreneurs. I bet a lot of the people in the book are action types, right?
Yeah.
And then N stands for nurturing, which is what I am. And you sort of are giving off some nurturing vibes yourself, Cordelia. And then K is knowledge. So a person who's just, if you're trying to sell or have a conversation with somebody who's in knowledge, you want to make sure that you've done your research, that you're not talking a lot of nonsense, that you're being very straightforward, and just digging deep. You can have very meaningful conversations with someone who's in knowledge. So I love that idea because, gosh, when I go somewhere, it really helps me. I can either ask someone what their code is, and we have different ways of doing that, or I can, as I said, look for clues. And then I know where to lead with the conversation. I know what kind of a greeting to give them or how to say goodbye to them or whatever, in such a way that's not off-putting, but rather they're like, wow, this person really gets me.
What I'm really hearing you say is like your system helps people to be curious about each other.
Oh, yes. Thank you for putting it that way. Absolutely. And for the past 10 years, I've been a coach, and you may be as well. And coaches, we are trained to ask good questions, right? Questions that will bring about some really meaningful answers. So I take the coaching training that I've had and combine it with what I'm learning with Bank. And then before I became a coach for many years in Virginia, I practiced law as a trial attorney. So that's all about asking questions. And I just find that it's kind of funny because a lot of times I'll go somewhere and I genuinely am curious about the other person. This isn't fake, but I'll ask apparently good questions and I'll get them talking about themselves so much. And then, it is kind of funny because a lot of times I realize that they never even asked me anything.
Right, because people love to talk about themselves.
Ourselves, right? And when you find somebody who is really asking you questions, it's like, wow, especially if you make it obvious that you're listening to the answer.
Yeah. Wow, you're right. You're right. And I try to not do that too often too, right? Like I want to reciprocate. And there's situations where people, they keep asking and then I'm just like, oh, I don't want them to feel, like this is an interrogation. It doesn't ever feel that way, because people enjoy talking about themselves. So, well, that's beautiful. You know what? Is it okay if we close with your quote?
Oh, of course.
And talk a little bit about that. So,
absolutely.
You said we are all leaders. It just depends on the type of leader.
Yeah, the question is, what kind of leaders are we?
Yeah.
So, I'll give you an example. It goes way back into time. And there was a very popular TV commercial. And it showed this handsome father and his adorable son out in the woods fishing and all of this. And everything the father would do, the son would do. And then everybody's thinking, oh gosh, this is so sweet, this is great. And then it ends with the father lighting a cigarette.
Oh.
Right. And that's what an example of what I mean. We're all leaders. The question is, what kind of leader are we? Because people are always looking at us, right? I mean, you're a leader in your home. You have children, right? You're a leader in the community. You're a leader in so many different environments, I'm sure. And we all lead. Even I used to do a lot of work in prisons. For one thing, I was a public defender, so I was in prison quite a bit representing my clients. But even in prison, you'll have leaders. They might be former gang members or current gang members, but they're leaders, right? So the question is, what kind of leader are we? And we are also followers. So what kind of leader are we? And what kind of leader do we want to follow?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I like that explanation. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jory.
Thank you, Cordelia. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So for those of you who are curious about getting a copy of America's Leading Ladies, you can get a print copy directly from Jory or any of the authors, or you can just go online to Amazon and get an ebook version by going to bit.ly/America's Leading Ladies, and it's a capital A, capital L, and capital L. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.
Bye, Cordelia. Thank you.
Bye, Jory.